Hello and welcome to the next guide in my series for new zombies players. I'm going to explain to you how gobblegums work, when you should be using them, when you should be saving them, and towards the end of the video I'll do a quick rundown of every gobblegum currently in the game just to explain how they could be used. If you find this guide useful, do check out my other guides that are on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. Right, to start off with, what are gobblegums? Gobblegums are little single-use power-ups that you can use in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and they vary from being completely useless and just adding a funny little comic effect, or incredibly powerful and actually helping you to skip entire steps of Easter eggs, or making you about as powerful as you can possibly get in the game, helping you to do things like boss fights. The really important part of this that I don't think the game makes clear enough is that they are single-use. That's not within one game, that is overall. If you get given a gobblegum, and you'll see them often pop up in your game, it'll say gobblegum awarded and you'll get between 1 and 3, although one time I got 5, which was really strange. But anyway, you get between 1 and 3 and you get just random gobblegums. That's a single use of each of those gobblegums. Then when you use a gobblegum in-game, that particular gobblegum is just gone forever. Now, of course, you can have duplicates of the same one, so you might have like 5 perkaholics, and then when you use one, you now have 4. When you finally run out of that type of gobblegum, until you get more, you don't have any, you can't use it at all. That can be quite frustrating because, as I said earlier, some of these gobblegums are insanely useful, very, very powerful, and once you've run out of them, right now, there isn't a good way to get new ones. When you get awarded gobblegums in-game, it is completely random which ones you get. So which rarity, obviously you're more likely to get the common ones than the ultra ones, but there's no way to control that. I know some people have said that you're more likely to get ultra gobblegums at higher rounds. Personally, I haven't experienced that. Sometimes I get ultra gobblegums on really early rounds and common gobblegums on late rounds. But maybe there's a sort of slight leaning towards you having a better chance of getting ultra ones later on. If there is, the effect isn't very strong. Over time, they will be adding more ways to get gobblegums. We know you're going to be able to get them in the Battle Pass, so they're included in that. You actually get some if you buy the Vault edition of the game, if you upgrade to that. And in store bundles, there's going to be gobblegums attached to different store bundles. I don't know if they've confirmed yet whether you'll be able to buy specific gobblegums, you know, like pay $2 to get Perkaholic once or something like that. I hope they don't do that because that's very kind of pay-to-winny. You're going to end up with loads of people just buying them during the Easter egg hunts and things like that, so everyone's going to be forced to use them. I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but you're definitely going to be able to get them in the Battle Pass and attached to bundles. So let's have a look at how you actually use gobblegums in-game. So when you're setting up for a match, if you go to your loadout, you'll see you've got your weapons and then your field upgrade, your tactical and lethal, and then your gobblegum pack that you've got equipped. And you can actually make more of these gobblegum packs if you want. So you can just create a new pack, give it a name, let's just call this one test. And then under each slot, I can choose one of the slots and then just choose which gobblegum I want to put in there. So you can get 5 overall. So we can put a stock option in, and then we can maybe put a nowhere but here. And then legendary, we'll put a crate power in, and then an ultra one, we'll put hidden power in, and then we'll put a whimsical one in as well. It's worth noting the whimsical ones are a little bit different to all of the other gobblegums. You get them by exfilling at slightly higher rounds, so past round 21. And they don't give you any advantages. They're just silly. They're just there for a little bit of fun. But once you've set up your gobblegum packs, then you can choose the one that you're going to go in the game with. Just make sure it says equipped. And then when you load into the game, that's the pack that you've got equipped. Now, when you get into a match, once per round roughly, but it does actually have a cooldown, it doesn't last quite that long, you can go up to one of these gobblegum machines, just interact with it, and then it will, after a short delay, pop out one of the gobblegums from your pack, and then you can choose to take it, or you can choose not to if you want to leave that one behind. If you don't take a gobblegum, it isn't used up, it's still in your inventory, so it will be there. You'll still have the same number of them as you did when you went into the game. So if I go onto a different round, you can see just as a second round starts, then the gobblegum machine will reset, so now I could use another one. I can just interact with it again, and then it will pop out another one, and this one is indigestion, so I can take that one, and now I've got 2. So you can see on the right, I now have 2 gobblegums, and if I just press right on the D-pad, I can actually select between them before I use one. If I want to use one, I just tap X on it. So that's A if you're on Xbox, but X if you're on PlayStation. So I can tap indigestion. Now I've eaten that gobblegum and I've got the effect of it. You can see in the bottom right, there's like a white circle around that gobblegum. That just shows you how long is left for the effect of it. This one just makes the zombies make farting noises when they die. It's a very silly one, it's a whimsical one, but that's the only effect it has. And then again, if I go back to Gobblegum Machine, I can activate it again just because it's now a new round. So there, we've now got hidden power, can take it, and then that is added. Now, you can only hold 3 Gobblegums at a time. So if I tried to grab another Gobblegum, it won't let me because I've already got 3. I'd have to use one in order to get rid of it. And you can see there, the cooldown is about 300 seconds. So that's what, 5 minutes before you can get another one. The cooldown does reset every time the round goes on to the next round, or you can just wait 5 minutes and then it will reset for you. One really nice thing about the Gobblegum system in this is that you can actually change your Gobblegum packs in game. So if you just pause it, then go to change Gobblegum pack. Obviously it doesn't pause if you're in multiplayer, but just open the start menu. You can choose which pack's available. There's up to 5 packs that you can set up. And then you can just select the packs that you want things to come from now. And then next time that you get a Gobblegum in game, it will come out of that new pack. So I'm just rolling for another one. And then I got Temporal Gift. And you can see here that if I go to change Gobblegum pack, that's from the new pack that I just equipped rather than the old pack. So that is super helpful. Also, if you pick up something and you don't actually use it, so say I've just picked up that Temporal Gift, but then I decide I'm going to quit that game or I die, that won't use the Gobblegum up. You'll still have it in your inventory. You'll be able to use it in another game. It's only actually if you eat, if you kind of activate the Gobblegums, that's the only time they get used up. So when do you want to use Gobblegums? When's the best time to use Gobblegums? Well, essentially it's when you have a real need for them. Because they're limited, I'm not a big fan of using them just because. I don't really like just using them randomly because you would very quickly start working your way all the way through all of your Gobblegums. And then when you do need them, like you're doing an Easter egg attempt or you're trying to do world first when a new map comes out, something like that, you'll suddenly find that you don't have the ones you need. Now, when's the best time to use each one kind of depends on the Gobblegum. So what we'll do now in this section of the video is just fairly quickly run through every single Gobblegum that's currently in a game, and I'll just explain when I would use it. But in a normal game where I'm just grinding camos and things like that, I don't use Gobblegums at all. I really just don't bother unless I've got a specific need to, which I'll talk about as we get to each one. So in this first set, let's start off with stock option. Stock option means for 3 minutes, ammo is taken from the player's stockpile instead of the weapon's magazine. So that means you don't need to reload. It can be super useful if you've got a weapon that takes a long time to reload. Maybe something like a rocket launcher where you have to reload after every individual shot. This could be super useful for something like that. I think that's really good when you're fighting bosses, or if you're doing camo grinds and you've got things where you need to do stuff like get 15 kills in a row quickly without stopping, without reloading, something like that. It could be useful if you're having trouble with those. Killjoy spawns an insta-kill power-up. Again, super useful in boss fights for both of the main quests that we have so far. Also useful if you are trying to get the camo grinding done for weapons like the GS45s, the pistols, where you can't really pack-a-punch them because then they start firing explosives and it's hard to get headshots. Instead, you can use this just to spawn insta-kills on higher rounds where you've got a big horde of zombies, and then because you've used an insta-kill, they will still be able to kill all of those zombies really quickly. That's a nice way to be able to get a lot of progress towards camos. Anywhere But Here instantly teleports you to a random location. It's a really good get out of jail free card. It basically just teleports you somewhere else on the map, and then you'll stun any zombies that are nearby. If you're playing in multiplayer, you've accidentally teleported to near another player, it will stun all of the zombies nearby, so you'll be fine. It's basically just a little safety net. If you get stuck, this is the way to get out of it. So those can be super handy when you're trying to go on for higher rounds where you're likely to get stuck, or again in boss fights, especially the Liberty Falls boss fight, where you can often end up getting stuck in a corner of the church. Cashback spawns a max ammo power-up, really useful if you're using weapons like the GS45s that run out of ammo really quickly. It can be nice to have that, again, especially in a boss fight. I wouldn't really use that if I'm just doing camo grinding, because normally you can just buy ammo instead, or pick it up when you kill a mangler. Temporal Gift makes the next time-based power-up last longer. Now this is kind of a new category of GobbleGums that we haven't talked about so far, where they have really good synergy with other ones. So if you get Temporal Gift and activate it, and then you use an insta-kill one, use Killjoy, then you're going to have insta-kill for twice as long as you otherwise would have. Amazingly useful in a boss fight, so you're doing a ton of extra damage, or again, if you're trying to grind out the GS45 weapon camos, it means that you've got that insta-kill for an entire wave probably, and you can clear them out. Obviously, it would be a waste if used on a lower wave, because one insta-kill would probably clear it out anyway, but it can be useful. It can also be super useful if you're about to pick up a double point and you've got loads of zombies in front of you, then a double point will last twice as long, so that's incredibly helpful. And you can also use it for something like Fire Sale, so Fire Sale can last for a lot longer, so your entire team can use the mystery boxes if that's something that you're doing. It's a really helpful one, Temporal Gift, so it's thankful that they're down in the rare category all the way down here. Then you have Arsenal Accelerator. This one I think is a bit useless. It charges your field upgrade faster. It seems to double the rate your field upgrade charges in. I haven't found any real big use for it. Things like Ether Shroud I use all the time seem to charge up pretty quickly anyway. There's a lot better GobbleGums that you can use if you're using something like Healing Aura. There's other GobbleGums that will help you revive people quicker anyway. So I don't really use this ever. Shields Up I find super useful. It refills your armor when you use it. Obviously, best to use it when you've got free plates, so then you get the most benefit out of it. But the really important effect of this is that for 3 minutes, your armor is twice as strong. So if you're in a situation, again, you're going to hear me say this quite a lot, like you're in a boss fight, then you're going to have armor that's twice as strong, probably for the duration, much of that boss fight, an entire phase of the boss fight. 3 minutes is a pretty long time. Now we can go over to Epic. Who's Keeping Score just spawns a double points power up. Really useful if you've got a wave where there's loads of zombies and you're going to be able to kill them quickly. That's amazing. Also, if you're doing that Easter egg on Terminus where you knock the basketball through the hoop, if you pop one of these just before you pick up all the essence, you can get it's like 40,000 essence or something. You get loads for doing that. So that's super handy. Free fire means firing weapons consumes no ammo. It doesn't work with wonder weapons. So you can't use it with the jet gun, the ray gun, or the beam smasher. But free fire is basically a better version of stock option. So stock option takes the ammo from your stockpile instead of your magazine. Free fire just means that the ammo is free. You've got infinite ammo for a while. Again, amazingly useful when you're fighting a boss. Could be useful if you're trying to do some of the camo grinding, but these are a bit rarer, they're an epic one. So I would probably save these for boss fight attempts. Then you've got Nowhere But There. This one, if you've got a teammate who is downed, you can pop one of these and you will teleport to them and then instantly revive anyone nearby. Not just the player you teleported to, but say if you're the last person alive and your entire team are down, this will resurrect everybody who's nearby. So you'll randomly teleport to one of them and then resurrect anyone who's near them. That can be super useful, again, in boss fights, particularly thinking about the Terminus boss fight, where it's quite hard to resurrect people sometimes. That could be super useful. Soda Fountain, next time you purchase a perk, you get an additional random perk. So that's fairly self-explanatory. Once you use it, when you're going to buy a perk anyway, it will give you a random perk as well. If you're trying to get all of the perks and you're actually buying them, wait until the last possible one to use this, because perks get more expensive by 500 essence every time you buy one. So obviously if you buy this when you've got 2 perks left remaining to buy, this will give you the other one without having to spend the extortionate amount of money it would normally cost. Now we get on to some really good ones. Profit sharing says a portion of the essence you earn is also received by nearby players and vice versa. I originally thought this actually meant you were sharing it, like any essence that you got, some of it would go to other players. That's not what happens. It creates extra essence that it gives to other players. We've done some crazy things like using profit sharing and a double points and then killing a wave. If there's 4 of you, you get an insane amount of extra points because everybody has the effect of it. And you just get an insane amount of points. Like you can easily start getting tens of thousands of points in a single round, which is huge if you're trying to set up, getting your triple pack-a-punches, buying extra perks. Profit sharing is amazing and works really well if you can pop that and a who's keeping score. Respin cycle respins the weapon in the mystery box after it's settled to one of equal or higher rarity. I don't think this is that useful. I don't really use the mystery box that much at all. But basically, if you use this and you get say if you've got a blue weapon in the mystery box and then you pop this, it will respin it and then give you a purple weapon or maybe an orange weapon if you're lucky. Not that useful. If you use it on an orange weapon, it doesn't then automatically give you a wonder weapon. It will just give you another orange weapon. So you can't use it to get like guaranteed wonder weapons for a epic gobblegum, sadly. Exit strategy lets you activate the exfil vote immediately, and during that exfil there'll be less zombies than usual. I don't find this particularly useful. You only ever have to wait 5 rounds at the most to get another exfil, so not super handy. There has been a glitch where you could kind of skip the Liberty Falls boss fight, or boss fight, whatever you want to call it, the final fight in Liberty Falls, by using this. That's the only time I've seen people really talking about it being useful. Exfilling itself isn't that important, so I wouldn't ever really bother equipping this one. Legendary, you've got Idolize. Idolize is amazing. It's one of the best gobblegums. In boss fights specifically, it's absolutely amazing. So basically it makes all zombies ignore you and stand idle. So if you're, say, doing the Terminus boss fight, you can just focus on doing damage to the boss. The boss will still do the AoE attacks, but all of the other zombies, amalgams, everything will just ignore you. So you can really just do a ton of damage very quickly. It lasts 30 seconds, and to be honest, that feels like quite a long time. Idolize is absolutely awesome. Wall power means the next weapon you purchase off a wall comes pack-a-punched. That could be useful in Liberty Falls if you want to grab the GS45s to do the boss fight or to do a later round, because you'll want them pack-a-punched fairly quickly. But, it only pack-a-punches them once, so essentially this is only saving you 5,000 essence, whereas a lot of the other gobblegums will get you way more than 5,000 essence, so I don't think this is all that useful. Phoenix Up revives all teammates, and teammates keep all of their perks. Again, amazing in a boss fight. If you've all got like Perkaholic, you've all got full perks, then if you're in that boss fight and then people start going down and they lose their perks, that can be disastrous. If you've got some Phoenix Ups, then you can just eat one of those and that will immediately resurrect everyone with all of their perks, which is absolutely amazing. Crate power means the next weapon that you take from a mystery box comes pack-a-punched. Not massively useful, I don't think. Again, the mystery box, you're just getting a random weapon and then you're going to save 5,000 essence by getting it pack-a-punch straight away. Not the best use of a legendary gobblegum. On the house spawns a random perk power-up. Again, not saving you a huge amount of essence, so not the best gobblegum ever, but it will throw a random one down, which can be useful. Sod's Law, you'll always get the one that you want the least. You'll get melee macchiato when you're not really using melee weapons or something like that. Always better to use it when you've already got quite a lot of perks, because then you'll be saving a lot more essence compared to if you used it when you didn't have any perks and you'd only save 2,500. Wall-to-wall clearance means weapon wall buys only cost 10 essence. Again, not massively useful. The weapon wall buys aren't that expensive in the first place, so I don't think that's great. These legendary ones, really Idolize and Phoenix Up are really good, but these are a bit rubbish. And then Immolation Liquidation spawns a fire sale power-up, which means all the mystery boxes are active and they only cost 10 essence to use. Again, not massively useful. I guess it is a good way of trying to get a wonder weapon. If you're trying to skip doing the wonder weapon crafting steps in Liberty Falls or Terminus, you could use a fire sale to try and see if somebody on your team can get it. Personally, I have literally never had the Beam Smasher or the Jet Gun out of a mystery box. I know you can get them, I've just had really bad luck. In all my time playing, I'm nearly at 4th Prestige now, I've never had it happen once. So yeah, I don't think those are that useful. So out of the legendary set, only really Phoenix Up and Idolize, they're the two that I think are really good. Then we get on to Ultra. So these are the rarest ones. You can see I don't have many of any of these. Oh, I just realized that these actually changed the one that's over here. That's kind of cool. I didn't realize that that's actually your set. They look nice. Anyway, Perkaholic. Perkaholic is the big one. Everybody wants Perkaholic. It's amazing. Perkaholic gives you all available perks. Super useful to have to save a bunch of essence, getting all of the perks ready if you're going into a boss fight. Super useful to have on you in case you go down in a boss fight, and then you can just pop one of those and get all of your perks back. Amazing. Think of how much essence that saves you buying every single perk, as opposed to one of these where, you know, you get one perk. This is absolutely amazing being able to use a Perkaholic. Near-death experience, I think at the time of recording this, is actually bugged. It says for 3 minutes or for 5 revives, you can revive or be revived by being nearby other players. That definitely works. And then revive players keep all their perks. That doesn't work, or at least last time I tried it, which was like the launch night, that didn't work. So you would still lose some of your perks, whichever ones you were losing on your bar, but it would let you revive nearby players. So basically, when near-death experience is on for 3 minutes or until you've used up 5 revives, you can just stand near another player, or other players can just stand near you, and that will be enough to revive you. And it works super quickly. You revive people super fast doing that. So again, can be useful in a boss fight, just meaning that people can revive you while they're still shooting, while they're still fighting the boss and stuff like that, rather than both of you ending up going down. But not quite as useful as the description makes out. Hidden Power upgrades your currently held weapon to legendary rarity. This is pretty awesome, so if you've maybe been spending salvage on other things like, I don't know, self-revive kits, or you've been upgrading another weapon, this will immediately upgrade your weapon, whatever it is. Obviously not a wonder weapon because they don't have separate rarities. But whatever weapon you've got other than wonder weapons, it will immediately upgrade it to legendary, which is the highest it can go, so it will do a lot more damage. So that, again, can be super useful if you want to take 2 fully upgraded weapons into a boss fight. You probably won't get enough salvage in a normal game to upgrade both weapons, so you could use this to do the other one. And that really does make a big difference to how much damage you're putting out. Wonder Bar is another incredibly useful one. This means the next weapon you get from a mystery box will be a wonder weapon. Now, there is a problem with this. A lot of people use this to try and quickly do the Easter eggs, because if you can skip building the beam smasher or the jet gun, that saves an absolute bunch of time. Like if you're trying to speedrun them to do Liberty Falls in under half an hour, you can skip all of that stuff with the jet gun. You don't need to worry about doing the stuff in the bowling alley with the valve. You don't have to worry about finding the groundskeeper, any of that stuff. Now, the problem is that on Liberty Falls, when you use this, you've got a 50-50 shot as to whether you'll get the ray gun or you'll get the jet gun. Similarly, on Terminus, 50-50 shot whether you get the ray gun or the beam smasher. It's weird that you end up getting so disappointed when you get the ray gun. So it is a bit of a risk, because obviously Wonder Bar's super rare gobblegums. It might give you what you want, but it might not. And you know, again, sod's law, when you're really, really onto a good run, you know what you're doing, chances are this will give you the one you don't want, which kind of sucks. Then finally, for the sort of proper gobblegums, there's Raindrops. This spawns all of the core power-ups at once. Now, this can be super useful on later rounds if you've got big hordes of zombies, because it will give you an insta-kill, it will give you full armor, max ammo, full power, filling up your field upgrade, and a double points. So it can be quite an effective way of suddenly just being like, back on top, get yourself sorted, have a really good round. I wouldn't ever use Raindrops on an earlier round because it's not going to be that useful or interesting. But later on, that can be hugely powerful, especially if you can combine it with something like profit sharing. If someone can pop profit sharing and then you do Raindrops, so you're getting all of the stuff you need to kill loads of zombies, and then you've got double points as well, that can be really good. The only thing to watch out for that is it does spawn them all kind of in a circle around you. Don't accidentally immediately walk over the nuke, thus wasting the double points. That would be really bad. It does give you all the power points, just try to avoid the nuke. Then finally, there's the 2 whimsical gobblegums. Newtonian Negation, like I said, these just have sort of funny effects. They don't have serious effects at all. Newtonian Negation makes all of the zombies you kill fall up and then they kind of dissolve in the sky. It looks kind of cool. And then Indigestion makes all the zombies make farting sounds when they die. That one is surprisingly subtle, like it's not super obvious. I guess you could use it just to make your team laugh when you're playing. There's not really any use for that. You can see I've not really used many other than when I've been recording stuff for this video. So that is all of the different gobblegums. Like I said, I really only use them when I have a specific need for them. When I think, okay, for this weapon, it's going to be super useful in the camo grind. Even then, I haven't really been using any during the camo grind, except for maybe the ammo one. It just doesn't seem that important, and I want to save my gobblegums. I'm one of those people who likes to hoard things. You know, in an RPG, I'll end up with 1,000,000 potions left at the end of the game, just in case I need them for something later. But when you're going into boss fights with Easter eggs, really good time to use them. So set up something where you're going to have stuff like Idle Eyes, maybe like Phoenix Up, that will really help you, maybe Perkaholic, to get you definitely set up or to get you reset up on the off chance that you die. That's when they're really good. So for now, for example, for me, I'm not really going to be using any gobblegums until the new map comes out next month, because then I'll have loads of gobblegums ready for our attempts to try and get world first. That's what we'll be doing with them. Anyway, I hope this helped to explain gobblegums for you. They are kind of a weird, complicated system, and the game doesn't do a good job of explaining them, so hopefully I did a better job. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more guide videos for Call of Duty Zombies, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye!